single day.
An expired year. Okay. So when you see we are taking the gas inside, that is a inhale process, right? So inhale process, what are the content or composing the air? Okay, that we can see now. So see the oxygen, actually when we inspire the atmospheric air, the level of oxygen is 21%, and in expiration when we given out the exhale process, 16% of oxygen comes outside. Okay, carbon dioxide you can see 0.04% only inhale to the body, and when it comes outside you can see 4% only. So oxygen level expired air, it's very less because that oxygen consumed in the body or diffuses into the bloodstream for the process of respiration. Carbon dioxide is excess carbon dioxide comes out or diffuses from the blood stream or the blood capillaries to the alveoli and comes outside. So that the inhale air you can see 0.04% of carbon dioxide, and exhale you can see 4% of carbon dioxide. Nitrogen 79%, and the same 79% comes out of the body because we are not utilizing, we are not taking even a single percentage of a nitrogen for our respiratory process. And water vapor, it's a little variable. Inspired air, expired air, it is a high because it's very humid from the body. When it comes outside, it comes with a little moisture. So let's see the lung capacity. What is the capacity of the lung and how much volume? What is the volume and how much air it can hold inside the lung? Let's see now. So when lungs of an adult are fully inflated, they have volume of about 5 liters. So you can see it's inflated. They have normal condition without expanding. The volume is 5 liters capacity. Okay, volume of the lung is 5 liter capacity. So we are going to see about tidal volume. What is meant by tidal volume? So it's also one more question, two more question. This is the volume of air breathed in and out at rest. This is 0.5 liters. So breathing in and breathing out in the rest time of the lung, that is we can call this tidal volume. This is the volume of air breathed in and breathed out at rest. Okay, at rest or normal condition we can call it as tidal volume, and this is nearly about 0.5 liters of volume. And vital volume, what is meant by vital volume? The maximum volume of air that can be breathed in and out at exercise, for example, it's 3 liters. Okay, so the maximum volume of air that can be breathed in and out, okay, that is called as, this is mainly happening during the time of the exercise, during the time of vigorous exercise or jogging, running. That time we may consume more quantity of oxygen, more quantity of breathing process will be taken place. So this time the capacity of the volume of the lung is nearly 3 liters. It can hold the air up to 3 liters. So the vital volume means this is a vital volume. So tidal volume is at rest, the breathing in and breathing out of gas at the rest condition 0.5 liter. And during the vigorous exercise and during the time of the exercise, what will happen? The breathing rate will be very high, so that increasing the volume of the lungs also, it becomes nearly 3 liters. And residual volume. So 3 types we are seeing now. Okay, one is the tidal volume, second one is the vital volume, and third one is the residual volume. Residual volume means the lungs have to have a certain volume of air inside them all the time to keep shape. This is the residual volume. Residual volume, remaining some quantity of air always should be there in the lungs to keep the shape of the lung. Otherwise it becomes inflated condition. Okay, so it is nearly about 1.5 liters. So 1.5 liter is capacity is always there. Okay, and 0.5 means it is a tidal volume, so it becomes a 2 liter, and plus 3 liter during the vigorous exercise 5 liter. That's what very first we have seen. The maximum volume of the lung is the 5 liters. So what is the residual? The lungs have to have a certain volume of air inside them all the time to keep shape. This is the residual volume, and it's about 1.5 liters, and this is renewed through breathing. Okay, this is renewed through breathing. During the time of breathing, it may change. So aerobic respiration, though I told you in the previous class, is about the two different types of respiration. One is aerobic respiration, another one is anaerobic respiration. Aerobic respiration definition you can see here: a chemical metabolic reaction that burns down glucose with oxygen, producing carbon dioxide, water vapor, and lots of energy. Okay, so the definition I told you, simple definition you can learn, that's no problem. So the breakdown of food molecule or the breakdown of glucose, the presence of oxygen to release large quantity of energy. Along with energy, water and carbon dioxide is also produced, and heat is also released in this reaction. Okay, don't forget at any time. Oxygen is present or oxygen is utilized in aerobic respiration. Oxygen is not utilized in anaerobic respiration. More quantity of energy is released in aerobic respiration. Less quantity of energy is released in anaerobic respiration. These are the main difference between the aerobic respiration and anaerobic respiration. You can see this equation for this aerobic respiration. Glucose plus oxygen will give carbon dioxide plus energy. Okay, so C6H12O6 is the glucose molecule plus 6O2 is the oxygen molecule, will give 6 carbon dioxide, 6 CO2 plus H2O plus energy. Okay, so this is the general equation for aerobic respiration. Don't forget at any time. So aerobic respiration, the release of relatively large amount of energy in a cells by the breakdown of food substance in the presence of oxygen. This is a nice definition you can learn well. The breakdown of glucose molecule in the presence of oxygen to release a large amount of energy or large amount of energy or a lot of energy, large quantity of energy. Okay, that's the main difference you can see. So anaerobic respiration. Next we are going to see anaerobic respiration. So what is meant by anaerobic? I just already told you about the anaerobic respiration. Absence of oxygen. Let's see now. The release of relatively small amount of energy by the breakdown of substance in the absence of oxygen. Okay, that's all. So respiration takes place. How does it take place? Because the breakdown of glucose molecule or food substance in the absence of oxygen to release relatively less amount of energy. Relatively means comparing with aerobic respiration. Here it is released less quantity of energy. That's the main thing. Okay, you can see anaerobic respiration, the best example is the yeast. Yeast is the single cell organism. So yeast is able to respire anaerobically by breaking down glucose molecules into ethanol and carbon dioxide. But in aerobic respiration, the end products are water, carbon dioxide and energy. But here in yeast, in anaerobic respiration, you can see the end products are ethanol and carbon dioxide. Instead of water, here ethanol is produced and relatively less quantity of energy. You can see this what we can say equation. Okay, glucose plus ethanol plus carbon dioxide plus energy. Okay, so glucose will give means glucose because no oxygen, right? Glucose is broken down. C6H12O6 is the glucose is broken down and it gives 2 C2H5OH is a ethanol plus 6 carbon dioxide. So this is the main difference between aerobic respiration and anaerobic respiration. You have to learn well about this equation as well. So anaerobic respiration, some organisms are able to respire and release energy when oxygen is lacking. So this is anaerobic respiration. These are like a yeast, bacteria and other organism. Humans can also respire anaerobically for a short period of time. The amount of energy produced is much smaller than that produced during anaerobic through. Okay. So some organisms are able to respire and release energy when oxygen is lacking. When oxygen is lacking or less quantity of oxygen availability, that time some of the organisms are forced to respire anaerobically. The best example for anaerobic respiration is bacteria and some other smaller organisms or microorganisms. But at the same time, when you see in human beings also there will be anaerobic respiration for a short period of time. This is mainly happens in the muscles of the human being. during the time of the vigorous exercise, we need more oxygen, more energy needed for the body. So more supply of oxygen is needed so that the breathing in process will be very more. Okay. So due to this, what happened, the lactic acid is produced in the body, okay, that it becomes a muscle cramp and other process. So let's see now. Ethanol is produced here, so it's a fermentation reaction. Remember that glucose is the only reactant. So glucose is the reactant in both aerobic respiration and anaerobic respiration. In anaerobic respiration, ethanol is produced here. Other than that is the main thing. Okay. So it's a fermentation reaction. Fermentation, all the process we can say anaerobic respiration of the yeast cell or single cell organism. So anaerobic respiration in humans, I told you, just you can see here, when the amount of oxygen received by the muscle cells of the body is not enough to carry out all respiration aerobically. The cells respire anaerobically, but they cannot go like for a long time. The anaerobic respiration in human is different than the of yeast. Lactic acid is produced instead of ethanol, and no carbon dioxide is produced here. Okay, so see the difference in human being. Aerobic respiration, the end products are water and carbon dioxide, okay, along with energy and heat. So water and carbon dioxide. And in anaerobic respiration, in yeast, ethanol and carbon dioxide. Anaerobic respiration in human, lactic acid is produced. There is no carbon dioxide released here. You must notice this point. Okay, lactic acid is produced. It becomes so that the muscles become cramp. Muscle cramp occurs. Finally, this lactic acid mix with the blood and go to remove through the urine out of the body. Okay, it's in the liver and other processes are there. We will see later that one. You can see here that anaerobic respiration found in human being, the equation, glucose, no oxygen, okay, so anaerobic respiration. So glucose is broken down and gives lactic acid plus energy. So C6H12O6 is the glucose molecule broken down into 2C3H6O3 is a lactic acid, and there will be no carbon dioxide production here. Along with this lactic acid, little quantity of energy is also produced. Okay, students, I hope you can understand very clearly about aerobic respiration and anaerobic respiration. Aerobic respiration, anaerobic respiration in single cell organism yeast, and how does the anaerobic respiration found in human muscle also during the time of vigorous exercise and running time, that time, okay, playing, that time, our body muscle doing anaerobic respiration. This is a very short period of time. Okay.